And we're live. This is episode one of Beyond the Pendulum. This is a new podcast. We've done previous podcasts before. You might see the same people from other podcasts. This podcast is focusing more on like an art belt kind of layout where we will it'll be like 50% news and 50% strange stuff. Eventually, we're gonna have the functions where people can like call into this show. That'll be at a later date. You're seeing this for the first time. You may hear some of our voices. You probably have heard us on a few other podcasts. Um, yeah. Hmm. Yeah. Hold on. I'm trying to link something into our video. Sorry if it sounds like I'm not doing anything right now. I am. I have like a million screens up at the same time. Let me just paste this and spam it. Tweet. There we go. Yeah. First thing I want to focus is on. This is not getting a lot of coverage, even here in the United States, which our friend Mark will probably talk to us. It's about this farm protest that has not gotten much coverage here in the United States. You want to fill us in on that, Mark?
Well,
Oh my
Brian,
God.
maybe
Oh shit, guys. I messed it up. You guys were muted. Oh my God.
okay.
Yeah, yeah,
Just
yeah.
can
Yeah. No, no, this is episode one. We will, sorry, you guys were muted. So I wanted our guests in Europe to like talk to us about what was going on in, European, protests. You may want to fill us in, Mark.
yeah, yeah. So you already asked me before, like, why is it? It's weird that it's that's not really mentioned in like American media and whatever, but it's actually pretty big. It got like at first they started locking down this entire country, but then the Polish joined. After that, the Germans and French farmers, and then now, like I saw today, videos Italian farmers also joined in. And outside of Europe, I saw also like several farmer protests already starting. And so the government pretty much is demanding impossible things from farmers in our country. They're asking them to reduce the carbon emissions, for example, to zero, which is like, practically impossible for them. Um, and they're using falsified records. Some farmers are listed with 300, 600 cows, while they only have like 100 cows, right? And they're complaining about it, like the records aren't correct. And then some farmers have even like said to the government, "Okay, I'll reduce the carbon emissions, but and I'll switch to growing vegetables instead of having cows, right? If that's okay with you guys. And then the government just says like, no, 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 you have to leave anyway if you want to have land, right? That's what they're saying to the farmers. Now, this doesn't really make sense. Yes, a country is exporting 85% of the food, right? It's the second largest food exporting country in the world. We only have 17 million people. We have about the population of Los Angeles, but after the United States, we are the largest food exporter. Um, so this we consider it an attack on the food supply, on the global food supply, and that is causing prices to go up, but it's also going to cause food shortages. Now, this isn't really even going to be a big problem for people in the United States or people here, but you can imagine that if we are going to have to compete for our food on the world food market, where there is already a shortage, that poor countries will never be able to compete, and that's going to cause massive, massive starvation on these things. So that's one thing. And then second, we have our Prime Minister, Mark Rutte. He pretty much said in a podcast, the World Economic Forum, that he wants the Netherlands to walk on the front lines for the World Economic Forum and introduce this concept called food innovation hubs, um, which are pretty much kind of like huge distribution centers to replace our local food supplies and use this kind of like order food through apps kind of things, right? And people will have to well, producers will have to deliver at these big distribution centers, and people can just order from those things. With example is that app Picnic that is already right now. People like Bill Gates are heavily investing in it. And that's pretty much the thing. They're trying to like change the whole food supply here in Western Europe. I'm pretty sure it's going to happen there too, by the way, in the United States eventually. So that's pretty much the thing. Dutch farmers aren't accepting it. So they started huge, huge protests. They started blocking all the highways. They started literally dumping their manure and stuff in government buildings. Right? They started lighting these huge hay balls on fire and stuff, and they started blocking distribution centers. Uh, Now, initially it was a very friendly still. It was just doing blockades, not really aggressive. But the police responded super aggressively to the farmers to the point they started shooting at farmers. They started beating up farmers with a riot police. Um, and so 2 weeks ago, a cop fired at a 16-year-old farmer protester, right? Luckily, the kid survived, but still, they fired targeted shots at 16-year-old kids who protested because they see their own future being destroyed. They're supposed to inherit the farms from their parents. The farms are going to be gone, and they will never have like a future anymore. So yeah, it got totally out of hand, right? But the footage of all this stuff went like global. And, I saw some of my friends on Fox News, for example, literally and beaten up by cops. Um, yeah, so that's kind of the thing. So it went global, and now all these other countries are joining in. They're all pissed off. All these other farmers. They see what's happening. You know, the Canadians were also showing their support. Back again, these truckers, right? The trucker convoys and stuff. They're also connecting now with these farmers. Uh, since this week, the fishers are also openly connecting now with the farmers. So yeah, it's truckers, farmers, fishers, right? Yeah, it's it's getting bigger. And for the truckers, there's an explanation too. I mean, you can say it's politically motivated. It's not really politically motivated. I know that in like in Canada and stuff, there's a lot of truckers who are called like a right wing or whatever. This has nothing to do with that. The fact is, uh, our country, because it's the second largest food exporter, all the trucks are carrying food. So with the destruction of the food supply, all these truckers are going to lose their jobs. It's that simple. They're going to be all out of jobs, and that is why they're also joining in with the farmers, right? So that's kind of the thing. I think I explained everything, but
Yeah, I mean, it seems like if I do hear any news here in the United States, it's not on like I had to stop watching Fox News because it was so politically motivated, just to right wing politics. But as far as like CNN is concerned, or any of the local news outlets, I'm not hearing anything other than what I'm seeing on Twitter.
Right. Yeah, I'm not either. And to kind of like go back to what Mark was saying about the truckers and losing their jobs and stuff, I mean, that just ties back into, the whole world, the economic fourth industrial revolution, great reset BS because like they want to automate a lot of crap and so they don't really care, you know what I mean? Like that's kind of their goal. So
You speaking of automation, I almost got a job recently. Oh, go ahead, Glory.
I just said don't watch any mainstream media, period.
right, that's facts. Hi Glory. Go ahead, Tyler.
What's up, Mad Mom? What's up?
No, I almost got a job out here on the ports, working IT, and it was a pretty in depth job where you would fix the machines that are replacing the port workers' jobs. So now they have these like remote control. They're like fully automated. They work by themselves, and they're able to get out the cargo like 75% quicker. And I would just maintenance the systems. And they said if you work here, you got to watch your back because these union people are losing their jobs because of what you're gonna do. And they almost took the job, but then I was just like, I don't want to be killed because I'm taking somebody else's job. And that's kind of a reality of what's kind of going on about automation. Automation is replacing jobs, a lot of them. As far as outsourcing and resourcing, food products, I see that kind of going backwards in my country where they're trying to, and not like what's going on over there in Europe, but I see a lot of food products and tech products trying to be made here in the United States, mainly because after COVID we realized that to be interdependent on other countries as far as for resources, I think USA learned the hard way. If you out resource everything and everything goes to shit, you have nothing, and that's kind of what's been going on the last year in the United States.
So I feel that this World Economic Forum thing uh, is literally targeting our food supply to form some kind of like control system. Um, like I was never really into this kind of like this level of conspiracy minded stuff because the, I never considered our politicians to be that far away already from us.
Right. Right.
Um, but at this point, I think this is like some global groups like literally take control of our food supply and force us like in literally into submission. Because, and I'm not the only one thinking like this. That people are getting like really, really angry right now, like in our country.
They should be.
This is
They
not
should be.
this
Oh, it
is not
gives
like
this weird feedback.
this
It
is
might
not
be me.
okay. But listen, this is not like normal protests anymore, right? I protested like what for the last 20 years. I protest against all kind of stuff. We carry these little signs and stuff every protest, which are legal, right? But this is not like normal protest anymore. This is like right now we're blockading highways and we're blockading law enforcement, right? We are literally going into the streets of the politicians right now. We are like knocking on their doors, right? So this is different. This is I don't want to call it a civil war because it's pretty much the civilization against the politicians. But what I'm surprised with is that these politicians, these leaders we have, don't even care about our opinions anymore. Like they don't care about if we are not going to vote for them next elections. They're just doing it. They don't care about these elections anymore. They're throwing it in our face. They're saying, no, 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 we're doing this, whether you like it or not. And I'm thinking, like, who are these people? Right? Because usually we dealt with politicians who are like really smooth talkers. Like, okay, so I know, for example, like Joe Biden, for example, he wouldn't survive like 1 week in our politics. They're really smart. Uh, what is it like? They are selling you a product. That's how they talk. They're really smart. You can actually debate with them, and they know an answer to everything. That's how they are, and they don't read it from a paper. They literally can answer any question you have. and they smooth talk all the way, but they're not doing it anymore. They're saying like this is how it's going to be, and that is what's really scary to a lot of people. They have never dealt with this.
Yeah,
This is
this.
why.
Yeah, a lot of people were talking. Like recently, I fought tooth and nail about the whole NWO thing, and fighting, even the conception that there is some sort of master plan, with society and breaking down governments and what is going on. But I look around, lately, and I'm kind of seeing the other, the way I've been pushing against, like maybe this is part of some weird master plan to like destroy everything, because everything just seems like it's upside down, and a lot of it just seems like it's man-made problems by people at the top who just don't give a shit about what the people at the bottom are doing.
Yeah, yeah, I know. And like, okay, and so we had one step. We like, you guys have in America, you have different states, right? And you remember that whole vaccine policy. Some states would have forced vaccinations and be very strict with it. Other states would be like less strict with it and still allow you some choice in things. With us, it was like completely immediately the entire country had the same policy. Now, this was already a big shock to a lot of people because suddenly they weren't allowed to go in some restaurant anymore, right? And there was this whole discrimination thing going on, and that was kind of new to people. Still, the politicians always had to lie to get through with it. They always had to say, this is temporary, we only want the best, and there's this whole new pandemic thing, it's temporary, we'll fix it, right? That's the only way they were getting away with it. And but now it is like, this is not temporary, this is how we're going to do it. It's like we don't care what you say anymore. It's like they're a step ahead now. This is like the second step, a second phase, and um, this is not getting much attention in USA. I get that, but it is like we're kind of like in a prototype country right now, I think, and it's very weird that they use specifically our country, but it does make sense in the other way because we have a small population and a small country, and it is an easy testing ground, I guess. This is only what I'm considering. But
I mean,
yeah,
the only other country that I can think of which was kind of like the test ground for these kinds of policies was Chile, because after the Pinochet dictatorship, they were essentially entrenched in neoliberalism for like several decades. And one of the things that Whitney Webb was talking about was like she'd say how a lot of these super harsh lockdown policies came about in Chile and no one's really talked about it, because it was South America. But that's the only other country that I can think of. It could also be because Netherlands is like the heart of the international stuff too. But like, yeah.
I guess I did consider that part too. That's because the United Nations Supreme Court and things are here, and it's considered one of the European Union founding members. Because European Union is actually based on a thing called the Benelux, which is a open border agreement between our country, Belgium, and Luxembourg, which has like an open border for a super long time, way before the European Union, and that's kind of what they're basing it on. And like that's why like the headquarters of the European Union is in Belgium, right? And the UN Supreme Court is here in Netherlands, for example. And that is kind of like the heart of the internet of the new international order, right? New world order. Yeah.
Yeah, it's for me. It's scary to think that that the elites have any. When they say elites, I don't even know who or what they're actually referring to. I know. In the conspiracy world, the Bill Gates and whatever and that, but they're almost too into the main focus on what this is. For me, it was always like, how could anybody organize such a plan so well, but yet the world is fucking up? And maybe I'm not seeing the bigger picture of, maybe maybe that is the bigger picture. Maybe it's supposed to be torn apart so they can do whatever the fuck they're gonna do. I don't know. I
Yeah.
know that there's a lot of
Like
yeah,
build
powerful
an
people.
empire or
Go ahead.
oh no, I was just asking you to clarify, like maybe like what's supposed to be torn apart, because like in some form, the a lot of world powers are trying to usher in this kind of multipolar or bipolar world as a combat to like the very clear American empire that exists, but also like certain parts of that destruction are very calculated as a means to keep everybody who really has a chance of gaining total freedom, etc., like still crushed under the boot of like whatever neoliberal world order you're trying to enforce.
Well, we're seeing a lot of evidence of that. Not just in policies that are going on. In the government sector. We're also seeing that in the markets. Stocks aren't doing so good. Crypto's not doing so good. I like to tell people that a lot of those fucking whales that people are seeing, on these huge withdrawals and transactions are, Wall Street investors. But I'm sorry, but when you see a couple $1 billion move off the market, in 5 minutes, who's got those kind of deep pockets?
Yeah.
Somebody's intentionally crashing everything on the market end.
Yeah, and so I did do like the private deep dive into that Klaus Schwab guy, for example, right? And who is this person? Why did he suddenly get into the picture? And like, what is Bill Gates' role in this kind of stuff? Now, I personally think Bill Gates is a low-level guy because there is so much pressure on him, so much attention that this guy can't go to a bar safely anymore, and that's something like elites, for example. I don't think would ever want that, would ever want to live a life like that. Like if you're a truly elite, a powerful, supreme person, you don't want to be banned in any bar. You want to be there, right? And not like the people will like beat you up instantly. That's like I can't go to a bar anymore, Bill Gates. I mean, he's the target of everyone. Everyone hates him. So I did do a deep dive in the Klaus Schwab guy. Yeah, his dad is Eugene Schwab. Eugene Schwab was a neo-Nazi, Nazi under Adolf Hitler. Uh, he ran Asher Weiss factories for Hitler, and they did the research into the nuclear program for Hitler, right? And that was in the Norsk factories in Norway. That is what they provided their turbines for. And they also worked on the aircraft of the Luftwaffe. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
and it was the factories were located in a little town called Ravensburg, and he had 150 slave laborers working for him, Jewish slave laborers, right? And he was his factory was mentioned a model National Socialist company, and so okay, so you can say like this was during wartime. Fine, you're forced to do it. You don't want to lose your factory, whatever. Okay, that's one thing, right? But then after the war, right, this Eugene Schwab and Klaus Schwab uh, just keep on going with producing and selling materials to manufacture nuclear weapons around the world. And the biggest thing is what this Klaus Schwab guy did. I think it's the biggest thing. He got involved with the Asher White factories when they were in the 60s, and they were trading with the Pretoria government in South Africa. That was the apartheid regime. And Klaus Schwab and the Asher, he was the in the board of directors of Asher Weiss, and then that was at the moment they were manufacturing nuclear weapons for South Africa, the apartheid regime. They produced 6 nuclear weapons, and they have finished a 7th nuclear weapon. Now, and this was a government that was such a cruel government and had such was so racist towards its people that you would consider this was the government closest to what the Third Reich was, right? Closest to Hitler's government in policies, and he was active there. This Klaus Schwab guy. Now, yeah, you see, this is a bit from a business perspective. Yeah, probably a lot of money was made there, but why was this person specifically involved there? And why then again is he involved with this World Economic Forum? Why is this guy put in power at the World Economic Forum? And what is his connection with a guy like Bill Gates, whose father was in Planned Parenthood, who was in that whole, who comes out of the
Yes.
whole eugenics program, the eugenics theory and whatever, right? The racial theory, social Darwinism, and what is it? Klaus Schwab. directly connected to this eugenics program. Uh, you have the Rockefeller Foundation up front on the World Economic Forum, and the Rockefeller already in the 1930s met with Adolf Hitler discussing the eugenics program. And it's like
Yep.
this is on public records. This kind of stuff. It's not even like super shady conspiracy stuff. This is all public historians all researched this. The Swiss government researched this. Like, I mean, this is all happening in the open, and these are This is a neo-Nazi in power, and then
Yeah,
he's
like, go ahead, Mark.
yeah, but he's a neo-Nazi in power. The World Economic Forum, and at the heart of Europe, which literally sees a united Europe now, which was exactly what Hitler tried with the Heimat, a united Europe, right? Every single European country that Hitler conquered is in this European Union, and at the heart of it, in some mountain in Austria and whatever, and in or in Switzerland, you see Klaus Schwab and his wife sitting there, maybe miles away from where Hitler was during the war, in some castle there. Like
Yeah.
this is complete insanity.
Like, everybody thinks that we're just being like conspiracy theorists or like over the top, and we're like Nazis are fucking running the world, but they really freaking are. Like,
This is a
and
Nazi, and no one is going to stop him because now he has all the armies of the world behind him. It's like,
yeah,
who's
they
going
will
to stop him?
penetrate the cabinets. Yeah, and they literally have. And speaking of armies and military tech, like the shit that they're doing with the tech knowledge and the new quantum computing, like all World Economic Forum stuff, like all you have to do is just like listen to the dude talk for a few minutes. It's not like they're hiding it.
Oh, God,
But
Mom, it's not just World Economic Forum.
you're
It's
right.
World Economic Forum acting through Israel too.
Yeah, yeah,
Of course,
yeah.
these governments are all involved now, and that's
Yes.
one of the major problems too. Like that, even where the governments where you would put hope, right? In World War II, you put hope in Jewish resistance. And where are the hearts of these orders now? They already compromised all the possible resistance against it, and that's the sad thing. Like, where do we put hope now? We can't put hope. We have a little hope in Putin protecting his own region, but yeah.
Right. Well, let's not use the hopium because, like I keep saying, like, are we allowed to cuss on this show? Like, no one's coming to save us but us. Like, it's bad, and it's only going to get worse. And the indoctrination of society is so far gone at this point. Like, I don't know what it is going to take to wake some of these people up, because, like, 2 generations from now, you guys, like, I'm really scared for like my kids' kids, for real. Like, I really am. Like,
Well,
Oh
I can
yeah,
tell
yeah.
you, I can say this, right? At the moment, I realized these were actually neo Nazis in control, right? And not these capitalist people who only want money, right? But these are national socialists. These are neo Nazis in power. They don't even care about the money. That's the thing. That's not even it anymore. That
yeah,
is,
well, because I have so much of it that you know what I'm saying, money's really irrelevant to them.
they can print it already. They don't care.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
like, well, no, these are the most cruel people ever, and they are transhumanists, and they want to get rid of a lot of the population. And at that moment, when I realized it, I stopped using social media and all these things, and I went into the streets. We have analog ways of contacting with each other now, like classic walkie-talkies is what we're using. Like,
Yeah.
seriously.
Good. Good. I mean, that's what it's going to take, especially if like you're in the streets and you're doing any kind of resistance. You have to do stuff like that. Like, and people better learn how to use ham radio and all of that, because I mean, the surveillance state is beyond out of control. I mean,
Well, we have like our meeting places have Faraday cages. We throw our
yeah.
phones in
Well,
Faraday cages. That is how bad it is here now, because we know they're
okay, but the
listening.
Faraday cages are still only doing so much as far as that goes. You know what I mean? Like, we can OPSEC it up to death, but as long as we're still using their technology, then I mean, shit. It doesn't really. I mean, Faraday cages do help. Yeah, I'm not going to deny that they help, but that they're not going to solve the
I mean,
problem.
like everyone is turning their phones off at meetings, right? We're not broadcasting any of this stuff anymore. No more
Oh
social
no.
media and nothing. It's like only
Yeah.
the big promo things are being protested when all the streets are locked and people make some videos, upload it later, right? There's
Right. Yeah.
almost
Footage later. Yeah.
there's almost no live streams. A few, only 2 or 3 are still doing that. It's like,
Well, and they'll just nuke the streams, like they did for the insurrection here and stuff for anybody that is like, live streaming. Like
Yeah, no,
I wouldn't do it. I'm too feared for like my safety when I'm in the street to like take a device.
okay. So I was standing 5 feet behind a guy who was not. He was beaten up, totally beaten up by the cops, right? And the same night that I traveled with a car to a city like 20 miles away, and we were checking the protest there, right? And they were shooting at a 16-year-old kid, right? Police, they threw tear gas, they shot at a 16-year-old farmer boy, and they shot at another farmer, and this one other police guy was like waving his gun in one hand, right? It was completely madness. It's like, I don't know, they look like robots too now. Like they have the like.
Some of them probably are.
They're gonna be robots pretty soon. I mean,
Yeah. You
Yeah.
didn't see the robo dogs and stuff like shooting testing the military weapons out and stuff. Like, yeah,
Yeah, I saw
they
that
already
video floating
totally
around.
robots out. And that,
they use on Palestinians.
yeah. Oh, yeah. Not to get off subject, but speaking of drones, like I was sitting outside a couple nights ago. I was out there smoking or whatever. I don't smoke inside, and a couple of my friends were sitting out on my deck, just checking out the sky, whatever. There really wasn't a lot of stars, and I don't live too far from an Air Force base. Like, I'm not going to disclose it, but like I'm watching this drone, like turn itself on and then back like, you know what I mean, like using its like cloak, whatever the heck that technology is called. And I'm like, are you guys like looking at this? Like, I told you, like, I'm not nuts. Like, we watched it for probably a good 45 minutes, like right above my house, no big deal. Like, hey, we're just doing this. I'm like, wow.
Yeah, that's heartwarming.
Yeah, it's great.
Speaking of
It's fabulous.
weird stuff, you guys remember me talking about Havana syndrome a little while ago, like over the past couple of years.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So
There was a big like hearing or something last year. Like, they're trying to deny these victims,
Yeah.
but like wasn't there already like some kind of determination made by somebody? I don't remember who it was without.
Yeah,
pulling
so I've
it
been
is real.
Yeah, I've been under the impression they're using some sort of like direct microwave.
Energy.
Yeah,
Energy
microwave
weapon.
weapon. Yeah, some kind of energy weapon. And then I'm getting some feedback from you, Mark. I don't know what's going
No,
on.
I think it's from Mad
Oh,
Men.
is it me or is
Mad
it
Mom?
Mark?
I think it's Mad Mom.
It's probably
Yeah,
is.
because I'm mute
Yeah.
myself. I think so.
Yeah, and so what was going on is, people were complaining of, hearing metallic sounds, heat. They had obvious signs of brain damage, and these were happening. Usually, I think they were happening only in the Cuban embassy and
Yeah,
in the one
so
in
government
Beijing.
official.
Yeah,
Yeah.
go ahead.
Yeah, and most of the people that were suffering were like working for, you know what I mean, like the government or whatever at some point in time. A lot of them were.
Yeah, we've even had attacks here, with people who work in the DC district, specifically, but a few aides or something were attacked with the same kind of weapon. So like these people who are working, I guess, at the embassy, the CIA investigated it, and the CIA says that it's not real. It doesn't exist because these people were claiming six-figure damages for being incapable of working. And now the CIA is saying it doesn't. These people had pre-existing conditions and can't be proven that some unknown technology has affected them. I know this is a cover-up since day one when the Havana syndrome articles have started coming out, like in early 2016. Supposedly, the United States government brought out scientists, and the scientists' official explanation of what Havana syndrome was crickets chirping was causing brain damage.
I remember that now that you say that, actually. They did try to say that old nonsense. And didn't some of them have like some burns or something like on their skin or
Yep.
something from like the radiation from the weapons? And how the F does the CIA investigate its own crap? Oh yeah, they don't.
Yeah,
Police come in and investigate their killings of unarmed black people, Mad Mom.
Well, I mean, I know. Driving while black is a crime. Being human's almost a they're still using that technology and probably like way worse at this point, like we was talking on the last other show that, we do or whatever. And I had like some company and I was babysitting that night. So I didn't want to get too souped up on that whole, topic of the quantum computing and all of that Davos stuff. Cause I didn't want to wake up this tiny baby, but it's freaking ridiculous. Like they can like literally like, just pretty much microwave you with a cell phone tower damn near. Like and the worst part about it is like most of this stuff is out there like declassified. It's not super hard to find and they still just lie about it like in public congressional hearings on record like it's no big deal.
Yeah, that's been the big thing is like is the amount of cover up there's been, and actually the cover up has been there since day one, but it's gotten worse since these government workers have been asking for compensation. So, yeah.
Yeah, isn't there a case? Aren't they like at the Supreme Court with that? Is that right? Is my memory right here, Tyler?
Oh, I didn't hear about that. I was just looking at the articles for what they've been looking for compensation. I don't know if it's gone to a congressional hearing, but even if it went to a congressional hearing, it has no like legal say on like real judicial law. If they're trying to do it in civil law in civil court, so
Yeah, and I mean, I understand they're trying to get compensation, but all our courts are just freaking shit made up or lawless in the first place. It's all just codified nonsense, and you're never gonna get justice. I mean, geez, Louise, we're still waiting on an answer from this administration for something that was filed from like 2016 through opt-in, and we got an answer back from the ICCR. And, oh, they're just no big deal. We don't have to respond. Like. And it's because our owners, run the world and they're destroying it rapidly. And I don't know, people better wake up, like there are all these fucking false flag shootings and like we're the only country left with our guns in the United States. And people are just like, oh, let's go ahead and submit some more of our only way to protect ourselves from these fuckers.
I don't know. I'm kind of like on the fence on that one. Like there's so many crazy people out there. Like,
There is. I mean, there really is, but none of the legislation that they're trying to introduce is really to help you. You know what I'm saying? Like guns don't kill people. People kill people. You know what I'm saying? Like, and at the end of the day, most of it's mental illness. At the end of the day, most of it's mental
Gloria,
illness.
I don't know why you're so low. I turned up your volume all the way. Can you
Oh,
talk? Yeah. Are you like? Are you talking in in a pillow or something?
no.
No, she's just not trying to be all yelling in the megaphone, which is kind of weird, Glory. You're kind of loud by nature, girlfriend.
I hear it kind of low too.
All right, give me a sec here.
So, like, I seen something from some of the footage that's going on over there, Mark, the other day or whatever, where they brought in some like military or something and like towed off like a couple of tractors, like, and then like that. I think it was maybe even on like mainstream. I didn't click on the mainstream news, but they, use that for the news, like, oh, like, oh, we're stopping this by towing off like 2 tractors, and there's hundreds more.
There is actually at the first protest there were actually 20,000 tractors involved.
Hell
Uh,
yeah.
yeah, and it is only increasing. I think it's 30 to 40,000 tractors are involved usually in these protests. So it's all over the country. Now these two the army doesn't have capacity for that, but there is a thing. So the government hires these towing companies, right? But most are refusing to help them. Like the companies are refusing to help the government because they're on the
As they
farmers.
should be.
Yeah, they're openly refusing now, saying like, find someone else to do this work. I mean, yeah, they're all partners, right? I mean, like I said, most of the country is based on the food industry, and
Right.
yeah, so they're all like interconnected with each other, and but that's the only positive thing, like for these farmers, and that is that they do have the money and connections and stuff, so they they will be able to fight this for a while. That's the thing. They're not going to just disappear. And now there is also help coming, right? German farmers joined in and they're crossing the border to help Dutch farmers. Like because they're doing like shifts, right? Farmers are doing shifts. They're still continuing with their work, right? So when
Yeah.
farmers have to like milk their cows, other farmers are showing up to replace them. So
Yeah, and not too far past like calf season, so yeah, you gotta definitely like farming is a 24/7 kind of thing. It's not a 9 to 5, so that's you definitely have to do that. And that kind of goes back to the the self sustainability and like community and things that we've been preaching on for the last several years. We have got to work together, like
yeah, so it's kind of like a long battle to like who has like the longest breath, right? Who can like survive longest because the government is already having difficulties. Like so much police is being used that police is no longer able to do their normal tasks, right? So they're
right.
not like security, like certain events are no longer like going on because there's no police to protect an event or something, and capacity is like very low. I mean, so one of my friends who got beaten up, right? The police called me later that night, right? Because he had given my number, of course, as his emergency number. And
Right.
because he had dogs and stuff at home and other animals, and they needed just food, right? And he is alone, he lives alone. So we had to break in his house, and the police called me and said, like, they gave me instructions how to break into his house, right? So, yeah,
The police did.
yeah, the police gave me instructions how to break into his house. It was allowed, right? So
Well,
I
that's
did.
cool because they wouldn't have done that here. They don't relay messages for us.
So and they did, and I did break in into his
Yeah, what the
house.
fuck?
Yeah,
Yeah,
like I mean, shit. Like we're doing good to get our phone call, bro. So that I mean, yeah, your cops are better than ours, I guess.
yeah, okay. But so the cop made a mistake because he lives like in this a housing thing where there is like a shared entrance into the thing, right? And the cop said like this one is open already, so when you go in, you can break into the house and stuff. But it wasn't open, like the shared entrance, so it kind of fucked up. So I had to break into his house like late at night in the middle of this neighborhood, kind of like a shady neighborhood, right? So me and my friend who were there, we tried to call the cops and say like, yeah, this is not open, so we have to like break in like in the really bad way. So, but we tried to call them, but we couldn't get them because all the police stations were empty. They were they were at the protest. They didn't have capacity. There was no one even at the police stations anymore. Like it took 4 hours to be able to reach them. Well, we already had broken in this for 4 hours.
Right, like
So
we were
yeah,
calling to let you guys know, like not to come get us. We're doing something that we're told to do, but I guess it doesn't matter because you're not available.
yeah, that's the thing. Like we stood in front of the police agents, like uh, pushing the car horn the whole time, right, making a lot of noise. No one there. So that's the thing. And they were at the same time, like I read, like later I read on social media, they were shooting tear gas at protesters and stuff at the same time, right? They're not even at the police station. It's just, we're busy shooting tear gas and beating up people.
Yeah, yeah. Don't mind us. We're just out here committing, more crimes against humanity and police brutality. So leave a message after the tone. Beep.
But hey, if a school shooting happens, SWAT team will make sure to enter your school within about 2 hours or so, give or take.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, it happened to me twice now that these like police arrest teams try to like arrest me, and because I had a camera, they didn't want to be filmed when they do their stuff. So
Oh yeah, they don't like that at all.
They don't.
No, they hate it when you're like name and badge number.
I'm way too furious for that. That's like that's not going to work. But they do. They did. Like, they look like they're super angry at you and stuff. And they walk like they come like walking towards you like with six of these guys, right? And like, yeah, it is kind of scary. I can imagine like a lot of camera people were like gonna like quickly be gone from the scene. Uh, I know there were two undercover journalists there too from like local newspapers and stuff. They were there too. I was talking with them too. Um, and they were all supportive of the cause though, but they literally they said to me like, yeah, our newspapers are not going to support this, right? We're not allowed to write about this in the
They're
way you
not allowed to write about it.
yeah, we're not allowed to write about this in the way that we should, is what they said.
Yeah, they can't tell
Like,
the truth.
and these are experienced reporters. Like, one was really old, like really old, he was in his 50s, right? And he was a journalist all his life. So, but they're not allowed. They want to write about it, and they do sometimes, but their how do you call it? Their
But
editors stop it. Yeah.
Or they
very
have to
limited on
be
what they're allowed to say.
extremely biased towards the establishment, where it's like that's how they always write protests here, where it's like, well, the cops had to act because protesters were throwing water on them when it was 98 degrees outside. So, yeah.
Yeah.
So they're not getting like whatever like money to cover certain protests either. So I already made a deal with the journalists. I said like, okay, look, already going there with a lot of people. I'll make pictures. I'll just send them to you guys. We'll still cover it. You don't have to go there. You can just
Right.
use the pictures, right? You
Yeah.
spread it in whatever way. I mean, because they're yeah, the newspapers they're forced. They want to do it, but they can't.
So like, if are they doing that though? Like, are they accepting you guys' material and stuff? Like,
Yeah, they do. They do. They accept my
that's
material.
cool. That's what's up.
But these are only local,
Better.
really small newspapers. They're like city newspapers.
Right.
But it gets out when they do it, like because they write about it. People do share it on like whatever media, and others do notice these little articles they write, and so it gets
Yeah.
talked.
About the only thing that I've seen, like regarding on what's going on over there, other than the kind of stuff that we're all sharing amongst our little communities and stuff or whatever from people on the ground, is from uh, like if I've got like YouTube or something on the TV, like Sky News Australia is about the only channel that I've seen that has popped up anything about the protest, or maybe
Yeah.
Al Jazeera. I don't even know if Al Jazeera's put anything up really.
So I should have covered it once or twice. Yeah, well, the police violence they did cover. I was at that place and when that happened, and that footage they covered that was literally made. I was literally there when it happened, and Sky News did cover that. Fox also covered it. Just saying. Oh yeah, it's
Oh, Fox,
surprising.
Fox News did.
Yeah, one show did.
Tucker Carlson probably.
Was that lady? Laura, you know that.
Laura Ingraham.
Oh yeah, Laura Ingraham.
Yeah, she
Yeah.
covered it.
Yeah, I don't watch any of that crap. Like, I mean, I see but I mean, I just know their names really, because like about the only thing that I watch that pertains to any of that kind of crap is like
Yeah, well, I
clips
mean,
from my
yeah,
senator. So
their clips show up, so it's like, they
yeah, they do.
unfortunately come across your eyesight from time to time. Like, I don't watch Anderson Cooper,
I don't
but I know
either. Yeah,
who he is.
not. Yeah, like I'm never clicking it, but yeah, I do see a lot of Fox News notifications, mostly because like I watch like all the crap that Josh Hawley does, and he's always on there. So I don't watch the crap on there. I listen to the congressional hearings, but I don't watch anything mainstream at all ever.
Yeah, pretty much. I just listen to
But
the local news stations, like whatever the hell's going on. Because when I turn on these like big networks, I can't. They don't cover anything anymore, really.
Even
even
local
local
news
news. Yes,
stations,
thank you.
it's like so many of them are compromised. So many of them are owned by the like same companies. Essentially, if I were to turn on local news right now, it would essentially be the same as CNN, with a dash of like, I don't know, someone's cat getting eaten by an alligator or something. 'Cause it's fucking South Florida.
Well, no, I
Yeah,
mainly listen to like
yeah.
the news, but I know that the one I do listen to is on the CBS network, but it's mostly on the AM band. There seems to be a little more frugality on what you can and can't do.
Yes. Yes, there is a lot. Yeah, anytime I'm listening to any kind of like actual like news, yeah, I'm gonna get side with Tyler there. Like I might listen to like 10:50 a.m. is like my local AM station. Yeah, for sure. Like you can actually sort of still talk about things on there, which and even that's fucking suppressed somewhat, but
Hey, you'll
we'll
hear
see.
you hear the same news article mentioned 10 times in an hour. Yeah.
Yeah, and all the stations are playing the same things. Like it doesn't really matter where you are. Let's talk about what's going on somewhere else. That's not really what's going on, but here's
Bruh,
another
especially
distraction.
especially in the US, we have midterms coming up. It's going to be so toxic because I'm already starting to see all the damn ads, all
Gonna
the
gonna
sheriff
be.
ads, all the commissioner ads, all that nonsense. Like, y'all can
Yeah,
stop right now. I'm gonna
we're in
Christmas short
primaries.
it, so
Yeah, we're in primaries right now, and I'm
I
like,
even
God, is
get
election?
one.
Yeah, is election season over yet? No, unfortunately not.
Who
Oh,
are
here.
even going to compete in your guys'
Everybody can just
elections?
not vote. What? What'd you say?
Did you just ask us who we're gonna vote for, lovers?
No, I mean like who are even competing in your guys' election? I don't even know.
It's
I mean,
midterm, so it's not a
it's midterms.
presidential election. It's just like
Yeah.
for congressional
Yeah,
candidates.
congressional stuff like House and like House and state and like local offices, stuff like that is what's going on right now.
And
Um,
governors too, so
yeah, governors, things like that. Like, I don't know. I mean, like, I try not to really pay attention to the politicians very much because I know what they do behind closed door. My focus is like on local legislation and combating shit that they're trying to slide under the radar. That's where I battle those political things at. But other than that, fuck politics and no more presidents ever. Like, I don't vote. I mean, I
yeah.
just got my voting rights back like a couple years ago, but like I've only voted one time ever, and it was fucking for a local like sheriff's election, and that was to get rid of a corrupt freaking sheriff, and we got rid of him, and then the guy that we brought in was okay for a few years, and then we just had to like do a write-in and get rid of him like last year because they murdered an unarmed white girl and shot her point blank 5 times in the face.
You
And
know
now the
what?
guy's
It's
top in
funny
Florida.
because that's literally what happened with Sheriff Alex Villanueva in Los Angeles County. Everybody was so excited because he was a Bernie supporter, he was a progressive, he was anti-establishment, he was endorsed by the local Bernie club, this, and this. And then the protests pop up, and I'm watching my friends get their legs kicked in, like literally bashed in with a riot shield, getting tear gas all up in my throat the whole entire time. And it's like, not to mention, besides that, you also have the problem that LASD literally has like sheriff's gangs, and that dude did nothing about it. And his department is also behind the murder of Dijon Cuisine and several other unarmed men. So,
Oh, speaking of Alex Villanueva, yeah. So,
yeah,
yeah, I was listening. He got on that AM station I listened to on what was it 1070, and they interviewed him, and I don't know what's wrong with the fucking guy. Like even they questioned him about the police gangs, and he says they don't exist. All the investigators don't exist. And then he has all these conspiracy theories about why everybody wants him out of office because he says that he doesn't want to be a puppet to the board of chairs for the city or whatever. And then I'm just like, like why the fuck is that guy even our sheriff, like, or chief, whatever the fuck he is? And I'm
oh,
like
I
I'm like
want him out of office because he's a fascist criminal.
he's a
That's why
he's
I
yeah
want him out of
he's
office.
anybody who talks like that and has all the excuses, says one thing to me: con man. That's if you start talking about, if you got a reason for why everybody fucking hates you, it's not because it's because everybody hates you because you're doing something wrong. And if you got excuses for everything, you're a con man. That's it.
Oh, and also he's selling out everybody's information to Palantir. Just want to put that out there. Predictive policing algorithms that were spearheaded by Palantir. One of the places that they were used in, I think New Orleans was another location, but Los Angeles is like
Yes, New Orleans and
notorious.
Los Angeles, yes,
Yeah,
are two
LA
of
is
them.
notorious for employing the predictive policing algorithms. And then again, Palantir made headlines again because it was contracted to, be in charge of people's health data through Op Warp Speed. So that's great.
Yes.
Palantir and
Yeah,
Peter Thiel have your health data
Peter.
too. And
Yes.
that's Alex Villanueva's guy. So I just want to put it out there.
Yeah.
What do you guys?
Yeah.
What? This is a weird question, and I've been thinking about this for a while. What? And I don't want this to make this show like completely political, right? But we have these January 6th committees hearings going on, right? What exactly will happen if Trump doesn't go to jail? Like, seriously, like
Nothing.
I
Are you kidding
Nothing.
me? Hillary Clinton's still
Nothing.
free.
Nothing, bro.
Nothing's gonna
Nothing.
freaking happen, bro. Come on. I mean, we have Josh Hawley in hearings 3 years ago saying, like, it sounds to me like over the whole Russiagate shit that we need a complete overhaul over the Department of Justice, the FBI, and abolishment of the FISA court. I went to a dinner with him a year ago where I handed him some flyers with all Vault 7 leaks written right on the back, and he's like, oh, this is very helpful. And he still has not said Julian's name out loud. And I'm not saying he's not getting to it, but he ain't fucking getting to it fast enough. Sorry for the rant.
Bro, I mean, I'm blocked. I'm blocked by my local resident. Debbie Wasserman Schultz has me blocked. has me blocked. So like,
Life
yeah,
goals.
it's bad.
Yeah, life goals.
But I'm just saying though, like, like, do you think it would turn into like a real civil war? Because
No.
I mean,
No.
nobody's done what he's done at such. I mean, people have done what he's done at lower offices, of course, but not to
No, it's
dismantling.
not going to turn into a civil
No.
war. Like the
No.
whole release of the bioweapon was, not only for population control, but it was a litmus test, I feel like, to see, like, oh, how many workers are just going to comply with whatever we say. And guess what? Way too many of them did, and way too many of them still freaking are. Like, I don't know what they ever thought that, you know what I'm saying? Like these same agencies, like, come on, people, Johnson & Johnson couldn't get fucking baby powder right, and you're going to take some experimental vaccination from them? Like, get the fuck out of here. Like, I'm in Twitter jail right now for COVID misinformation. I sure thought it was for a Hillary Clinton meme that I shared, but because I shared it, and then like 5 seconds later, like, oh, you're in Twitter jail, and I was like, are you kidding? Like, that was fast. And
Is that still going on? Is that still
Yeah.
going on? You get put in jail for the COVID stuff?
Yeah,
Yeah,
you can't.
I
You can't.
spelled, yeah, you know what I said? I said, you guys are talking about the C-19. I even put like a 0 in there and used like alternate characters to try to get around the algorithms, and put a space in between every one of the letters in bioweapon with the makeup of the genome of the HIV structure in it. And boom, you're in Twitter jail as fast as I was when I shared the Hunter Biden laptop content. It's like, oh well, fuck Twitter.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's all automated right now, and they're pretty good. Like, I was trying to share DDoS secrets and even alternative spellings. I had to actually spell out the whole thing as though I was spelling out like a sentence. That's the only way to get around anything anymore.
Yeah, like even using special characters at this point is not working on a lot of
No.
stuff. It's insane.
No,
Like,
I
and
had to
I
put
wonder
in
how
like.
much of that ties back into like the quantum computer updating itself on how fucking smart it is. Like,
Well, quantum computing, is just adding what is called like what is it called, like a null bit, or it's like an in between state, so it can be positive and negative at the same time. Just can process things like a million times faster. But
yeah, and it's processing itself so much faster than anything else. And you're right, it can be positive or negative, but the fact that, people like Lockheed Martin and whoever is in charge at the very tippy top and is part of the young global leaders that penetrated all the cabinets are the ones running the quantum computer, we have a problem, folks.
well, yeah, they're only using them for like the what is it, F-18's code right now. I believe it's because there's like like 70 million lines of code or something, I guess. And like here I
Million,
yeah, but here
70 million lines of code.
that's what I'm thinking, and like why is this amount of like code in like an airplane that's like in a fighter jet, what is all this extra stuff in there for? Like,
Buy it remotely or something? Fuck, I don't know. Like, I'm a little computer savvy, but I don't know near as much as half of you guys probably do. But I know that they're doing terrible fucking shit with it. I mean, they're targeting people with the shit. So, I mean, like, I just listened to something, like, I think what was I listening to? I want to say it was maybe something on Burmes's channel, or it was either that or maybe it might have been Stephen Pasta's new show. I can't remember. It was one of the two, and they were, like playing clips from Schwab speaking, and he was talking about the quantum computing and how they're using it, for military technology. So, like, I was like, wow, it's not like they're trying to hide it. They're really not.
No, and that is what is really scary. They're no longer trying to hide it. Like, we already, like, we were discussing, like, what, New World Order and Freemasons and all this stuff for such a long time, right? And they always were, like, hiding in secret, doing the secret scheming and stuff. But now it's, like, all in the open. They're saying, like,
Yeah.
I want to fuck you up, and you're going to be happy with it.
Yeah, and people are like, roll me harder, daddy. Yeah, please. Like, yes, take my guns away because there's some false flag shooting again. Like, oh, yeah. And people are
There's a
just
lot
going right
of
along
all
with it.
things fully. Please don't let United States cops be the only ones in our society with guns? That's just common sense, people. Come on.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but
well, speaking of United States and guns, like if the rest of you states do not do what Missouri did, and let me tell you, this was not easily done. It took us fucking 8 years, 8 very long years to get the Second Amendment Preservation Act through. And if other states don't stop waiting to see whether the Department of Justice is going to win the fucking lawsuit that they're suing us, they're not. That's why they've already filed an appeal, and the Supreme Court hasn't even ruled on it yet because they're not gonna fucking win. But if you guys don't get that shit in legislation, like right now, through, I feel sorry for your states in another year or two. That's all I'm gonna say.
yeah, but these people aren't even the big problem. The problem is normal people are so brainwashed that a person like Klaus Schwab can say in public, "You're going to own nothing. You're going to be happy," and then the next
Don't leave the
step,
eat bugs part out. He said,
yeah, and then the next step, like he's saying that in public, right? He's saying you're going to own nothing. You're going to be happy, and the next step is he's literally taking our entire food supply away in our face. And people are not massively rioting and like they're protesting here definitely, but I mean they're not massively forming an army and putting this guy in jail. Like
Right.
that's how brainwashed people are right now because he's saying it in their face. He's saying like I'm going to take everything from you and you're still going to be happy with it. Like that's what he's saying, and it is a neo-Nazi.
Yeah, Nazis.
His dad was a
Yeah.
neo-Nazi.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, they all are. Yeah, like I mean, literally, like I'm not just being a conspiracy theorist or being over dramatic when like I say the Nazis are fucking running the fucking world. Like they are. Like get real. Like we brought the paperclip scientists over here and they fucking created NASA for fuck's sake.
Oh, speaking of NASA, what do you guys think about? What do you guys think? Because this is also going to be like a weird topic show. What do you guys think about NASA? NASA saying a few more weeks ago that they were going to actually investigate UAPs. Like, what do you guys think about that?
What's UAP
It's the new term they're using for
for
UFOs.
UFO? That's
Yeah.
what I thought.
Oh,
Um,
We investigated since like 500 years ago. So, yeah.
yeah.
Like I mean, like Columbus, they did already. Like you had already UFO sightings, right? Even like in religious books are UFO sightings.
Well, I think it's kind of like over the top, because I'm one of those few people that actually believe Bob Lazar's story about just listening to his interviews over and over and over again the past few weeks, you know, what he knows and how much he knows is beyond me, and how he knows about an element that wasn't even invented when his story came out, not until a few years ago. And
Yeah,
the fact that he knew exactly what star system came from Zeta Reticula, which is something some guy who came out of the woodwork would be. It was too specific, you know. He even knew about the dirt roads that they couldn't even see up until a few years ago with some FOIA requests near Area 51.
Yes.
He knew
Yes.
about
Yeah.
those. So it's like so if we already have like 9 of these things, or we had them, what's the point? And we're just gonna get another blue book thing, where they're gonna try and explain. Do you think that's what I think? They're gonna try and explain away the UAP phenomenon, or two, they're gonna be there's so much evidence now that the fact that they're going to have to release more stuff.
yeah. So there's a few things that speak in Bob Lazar's favor too, right? I mean, one is he didn't want to go public, like they kept
No.
pushing him, and second, like he's a brilliant inventor. He was already brilliant, way outside of this stuff, so he could have been rich with just inventions. He doesn't do it. He doesn't have to do it for money or fame or whatever. He could already have done it. He would make like made like a rocket engine on a bike or something. Like this guy is
Yeah.
crazy with that. Like he's a crazy inventor. He's obviously extremely smart. He makes inventions, and uh, so he doesn't need it. That's the thing. That speaks in his favor too. I mean, background's very important on that. Like you have these
Yeah.
yeah.
He even knew about the private contractor that almost nobody knows about.
Yeah.
That's really
Yes.
weird.
Well, and like a lot of the people, from that era are passing on from age and stuff, and so this sounds fucking horrible, but as people die, other people are allowed to come forward with information that they are too scared to, say before for obvious reasons. And that is also probably, helping that situation.
But how the story came out is he found out when they were the reason it came out was his story was because they were monitoring all of his communications in his house, and he later found out that his wife was having an affair on him, and got fucked up, drove up to like a place where they could go see Area 51, and apparently they were small smoking weed and drinking, and they all got caught except for him, and they brought him in, and they basically started saying that we're gonna basically off you if you don't shut the fuck up about what you just said. And then he went to the report. Then he released a story. So I guess he was scared for his life.
Yeah, and as he should have been. You know what I mean? Like, for real. People have got murdered for way less. Way less. For real. Most of the time they, find some other way to do it to make it look accidental, a traffic accident or a drunk drive or my
sewer
all-time
gas.
favorite, drug overdose or kidney failure. My buddy said over here, like, whose freaking uncle is the one that freaking like helped design and came up with fucking Predator drones. I was like, your uncle's what?
Hey, don't forget about the heart attack gun, Mad Mom.
Yeah. Which again leads me back to this quantum computing and the dues and the technology that they're using against us. Like, which I wish that is the reason that people weren't resisting on a level that they should be, was for fear of their life, but it's not. It's mostly stupidity and indoctrination, I think, in my opinion.
Facts.
It's just my take it for what it's worth. Like, some people before, they locked everybody the fuck down, like pretty much everybody was in the streets. Hong Kong, France, like pretty much everybody still is in the streets, except for the United States where AOC's faking arrests and shit.
But the US, bro.
Oh, you mean with what's her name and
Emar or whatever the fuck, however you say her name, and AOC and her fake ass fucking arrest the other day. Like,
I wish getting arrested only meant a freaking parking ticket. Like, actually.
Like, I wish getting arrested was not like face like ground into the concrete and guns drawn. Like, come on.
Yeah, getting fucking
and
assaulted.
being held without bond for at least 24 hours, no phone numbers. Yeah, getting assaulted. Yeah. Never getting any kind of reparations or justice in any kind of tort. Matter of fact, you always have to pay for being arrested. How does this work?
Yeah, usually there's a court fee.
There's always a court fee, and there's always a restitution. Yes. And you got to pay for your jail stay, and you got to pay for your prison stay, and you got to pay for your court fees, even if you pay a lawyer.
Even if the lawyer is pro bono, you still got to pay.
Yeah, you still got to pay. Yeah, they're going to send you a bill, and they didn't even do their damn job, and good luck on getting an appeal.
If you want a transcript of your own court proceeding, you have to pay.
Yeah, absolutely. If you want your own public records that they are required by FOIA and Sunshine Law, you will still have to pay for it.
Yeah, that's true. I think it costs like $16, $16 to $40, $16. Yeah, $16 for like a regular. Yeah, $16 usually for regular and $40 to $100 for an official one. Yeah, it does cost money to get your records.
Yeah. A few years ago, I did a sunshine request on some, CPS shit because everybody knows, they kidnapped my fucking baby and I still don't have her, but it's whatever. I have all the rest of my kids, but and I did a sunshine request and then went to jail for some shit that I didn't do and sat there for 5 months. And when I got back, I had a nice little letter talking about my records that I already paid for, that I still have a receipt for, that I never received. It's okay. I mean, I have all the shit anyways because I just got it for myself, but I, kind of wanted, like the legal correct way to, get the information, which I, attempted to do. But, after so many roadblocks, you just gotta do what you gotta do. And long awkward silence, you guys.
Oh, sorry, I was looking at topics.
Nah, I was just letting it. I just wanted to let that settle in because everything you said is facts. Sometimes you gotta let people digest the rants, you know?
Yeah. Let them
Oh,
absorb the rants. Yeah.
oh, speaking of like
Yeah, I went.
weird, NWO stuff, and there might be some what they call it pre-programming. In the last 2 months, and I've spotted this several times. There's been a lot of weird biblical references in since the war had started. Like about a month ago, there was a Russian military leader saying that that the four horsemen of the Revelations are being released. And only a few weeks ago, I was watching some woman on CNN, and they were translating her, which I thought was really weird. It wasn't what she was saying, because I know Russian enough to understand a little bit of Ukrainian, and
Right.
she was saying that, oh yeah, this is the apocalypse, this is the end of days, and that's literally not what she was saying. I mean, do you think it's like some sort of like conspiracy where they're trying to pre-program us for like certain things that they want to happen?
Uh, Using religion and stuff? No
Yeah.
way. They'd never do that. Yeah, that's probably exactly what they're doing, Tyler.
That active and overstimulation of the fight or flight response is part of what they're testing. They're pinpointing where your lines are and how you cross them, and that's where the control starts. And they're basically just dialing in. The only reprieve now we have is collective community and willpower. We're not going to get any more warnings when this starts spinning sideways. So now's the time to consider your bug in, bug out. I mean, do you got a 2 day bag? Um,
Yeah.
do you understand that if the power goes off, you have 72 hours before uh, stupid people get really hungry and start doing really stupid shit. Um,
Yeah.
a-
Yes.
and this is, you know, whether you're rural or urban, you should definitely have in your mind at least the awareness of what if. There's there's a lot of strange things going in a lot of different ways, and we didn't even mention CERN's new testing with
Yeah.
her collider. We didn't even touch that. We touched a lot of things, but um, it's already activated enough paranoia to go through my items list a few times in my head.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I think it's important whether whether you can bunker in or you go out. If you got the opportunity to go out, uh, you know,
Yeah. Yeah, we're
make
past the point
make sure
of
you're
people
ready.
needing to think about it. You need to be ready. You definitely need to have
Yeah.
a fallout bag, and you need to probably know, like local like plants and stuff that are edible for rural communities. You definitely need to have some food storage.
Water
I've been saying,
filtration,
yeah, water filtration. You need to know
rain
how to do that
collection,
for sure. Plant, yes,
hydration
all
is
of
going to
that.
be
Yeah, like.
paramount.
I
Yeah,
mean,
speaking
The
of
power
CERN,
goes out.
in the
some people
Mandela
probably couldn't even
effect.
start a fire, you guys. Like, it's that scary. Like, a lot of people probably couldn't even start a fire if, like, their lives depended on it. And that is insane to me. And speaking of CERN,
Yeah, yes, AK hit me up a few weeks ago,
what the
and
hell?
he was telling me, you've heard of the Mandela effect, and I'm like, yes.
Mm-hmm.
And then he's like, well, what about this CERN thing? And I'm like, I really don't know. But then he showed me a picture of Navy ships from World War I, and
Uh-huh.
I said, he says, what code do you think they are? And I'm like, I know, I've seen them. I've been to the Navy
Shipwreck,
Museum. They were all gray.
right?
He says,
Oh
no,
yeah, I noticed.
no,
AK showed me this too. I was shocked by it.
yeah,
So
they're shaped like zebras.
yeah, so this Mandela effect. So we have like these collective memories which aren't correct, right? And we
Right.
all always thought that these navy ships in World War II were like all gray or green or whatever. But apparently they were all like rainbow colored and stuff.
Get the
Like,
hell
Yeah.
we didn't
on.
even know that.
I've seen a lot of like comparisons like that. You know what I mean? I haven't
Damn.
seen the Navy ship one, but I've seen a lot of other ones.
No,
Like
so I'm checking out that. We
Monopoly
said
Guy
it.
is one that a lot of people are familiar with. Like if people don't know what we're talking about, and Mandela effect, does he have the bifocal or no? You know, like
Yeah, so it's based on the story of Nelson Mandela, right? He was arrested, he was put in prison and stuff. And there is a lot of people who remember him dying in prison, and there being a whole funeral in prison for Nelson Mandela and stuff. But he died much later when he was already out of prison. He died at home or whatever. I
But he
think he
got
was like,
out. Woohoo!
yeah, he got out. But there is a lot of people who are completely convinced that he died in prison, and they even saw a funeral on TV and everything. So that's why it's named after Nelson Mandela, right? And
right.
there's plenty of other examples from the Nelson Mandela effect, like yeah, you have the Star Wars, right? Some things, and
Queen songs, not remembering. I remember how the Queen song ended in my head, and I've listened to it 100 times since. That's not how it ended. The Queen song kept on going past where they ended it.
yeah, weird, right? Yeah. So there is, yeah, it's weird that we all have this weird that we have these mistakes in collective memory. Yeah, I don't know. It's hard to explain because some of these things are actually really uh, a collective memory. I mean, that Luke, I'm your father thing. I also remembered that, but
Me
he
too.
never
Yeah.
said that.
But that's not the quote.
No, he never
Nah.
said that.
What? Get on. He
Yeah,
didn't say, Luke, I'm your father. Yeah, he
say that. The actual scene is like blah 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 blah. Obi-Wan never told you what happened to your father. Then Luke says, he told me enough. He told me you killed him. And then Darth Vader goes, no, I am your father.
Yeah, he doesn't ever say, "Luke, I'm your father," but everyone remembers that. He sounds like, "Luke, I'm your father." It's like in Forrest Gump. They say in Forrest Gump there is this quote saying this lady saying, "Life is like a box of chocolates" or whatever. But he never said that. He says, "Life is a box of chocolates."
yeah.
But everyone remembers that they were saying like, "Life is like a box of chocolate" because it makes more sense, I guess. But it is.
More yeah. Grammatically correct or whatever, probably. Yeah.
Yeah, and then you have that robot in Star Wars. Everyone remembers that robot C-3PO as being completely gold, but he had a silver leg.
What?
No one remembers it. No one
What?
remembers that silver leg. In the original Star Wars, he has a silver
Yeah.
leg. One of his legs is silver.
I didn't know. I thought it was all gold.
Me too. But until I saw the surgical Mandela effect, I thought it was a silver
I'm
leg.
not a Star Wars junkie, so I didn't know that one either. But yeah, there's a
Just
lot
the
of them.
simple ones they shifted like Looney Tunes. It was short for cartoons, but now it's spelled like a song, Tunes, and that is
Yeah.
inaccurate.
Apparently, it's always said Looney Tunes, yeah, like with like songs, yeah. But we all said it
Yeah.
was Looney Tunes.
Yep.
Strange, right?
But
But
when I watched it, they were cartoons.
yeah, I mean, yeah.
Yeah,
But it was always these little songs in
they-
cartoons, though. They never spoke. Really spoke.
Well, I mean, fuck, the damn Nazis created fucking cartoons pretty much too. I mean, Walt Disney's fucking Nazi, so sorry.
Well, it's okay. So it's true that Leni Riefenstahl, who was the head propaganda person for Hitler, met with Walt Disney in America. Walt Disney was the only one who was willing to receive her as a guest. Like the other Hollywood producers all refused to be in contact with Leni Riefenstahl, but Walt Disney was. So yeah.
He has a silver leg. What the fuck?
Well, I
Because he
mean,
has a
maybe
silver
we're
leg.
just living in it, and maybe everything's what is it, an alternate universe, or you know, different planes, or like Steve says, we're living in a fucking cartoon, and we're not in control of it.
Yeah, there's some far out theories like Hitler actually changed his name and became Americanized, and it was Walt Disney, and that's why he froze his head.
I don't
believe that.
Yeah, I don't know if that's true, but
Okay, but there is a better link with Disney though, because yeah, he did meet with Leni Riefenstahl, yeah, but also you have the big castle in it's in Bavaria called Neuschwanstein. It's called the castle called, and that was the location where the Waffen SS, the Hitler's SS, were bringing all their stolen art, right? And this castle uh, looks exactly like the Sleeping Beauty castle that is used in like the Disney parks and stuff. They
yeah,
based
isn't that the same one they were supposed to like destroy? Like the Hitler guys were like supposed to destroy towards the end of the war, and they didn't have enough like explosives to tear it down or whatever, so it still stands. Is that the same one?
But the Neuschwanstein Castle is just there. It's a very popular tourist attraction. But
Yeah, that's the one.
yeah, people go there just because it's a beautiful castle. It's really like a Disney castle, right? So in Disney parks, they use castles based on the Neuschwanstein Castle. I mean, you can just search for it, and you find all these. You can see it's pretty much the same thing. Like a lot of castles are like very similar to it. This is like the perfect Disney castle in the middle of nowhere. But it was also the location for the SS art thieves. They brought all the stolen art there. It was a whole division, army division there. That was their headquarters. So yeah, now that's weird because we should consider that also like that Walt Disney was so in contact with Hitler's propaganda, which was back then also like art, right? But, yeah, art.
Oh, with what was it? The Nazi Donald Duck.
Yeah, you got Donald Duck doing the
Yeah.
fucking Sig Heil thing.
Yeah.
And then you had some really racist Japanese cartoons and racist cartoons in general.
Yeah, yeah. You had also like there was some also Nazi. There are some Nazi cartoons, right? And they do have they. I'm not going to say they look a little bit like Disney because they aren't actually. They would actually they look a little bit more like actually like Looney Tunes.
Yeah,
They look
like Morty Mouse and not Mickey Mouse. Yeah.
Yeah, this is a short little propaganda clips, but that's something maybe we can get into later. Like, there's a lot of evidence.
Yeah.
Tyler, like if you do like the next time like a stream, you can also like show it on the stream.
Yeah, I can show some of it. I can blur out the swastikas to the point where nobody can tell what it is.
Yeah, because we probably aren't allowed to, to have a swastika or.
Well, yes, you
whatever.
can.
Well,
You can have a
can pass it
swastika,
off.
but it has to be posted in a historical reference.
Well,
So
that is
off
historic.
as,
I
like,
mean, if we're
what
playing
you
a clip
call
of
it.
an actual cartoon that is displayed, we shouldn't have to, blur out their copyright or whatever they'd like to label it. So that we can
Now you
fucking
can
tell
pass
the
it off as
truth.
like that Indian peace symbol thing, or what is it, the Hindu
oh
peace
yeah, flip it the
symbol?
other direction. Yeah.
Yeah, where like if you rotate it just 90 degrees, it's an entirely different symbol. You can pass it off as that.
Or we could just use a black sunflower or whatever the fuck it is to blur it out when we do it, Tyler. There you go.
Yeah.
Is that the black sun symbol that like the Azov and stuff use?
Well,
Yeah, let's say that.
As
how
of
the
is in
Ukrainian
right
soldiers
now.
freak, Ukrainians like uniforms and shit right now, right? Isn't that what it is? Black sunflower, or am I high?
That is
It's
black sun
just
symbol.
black sun.
Yeah,
It's
so
black sun. Okay, I don't know where I got the flower part. I guess I'm
Well,
not
because
high.
people are using sunflowers as like a thing to be all pro-Ukraine, and it's like, bro, why you gotta call it the whole ass flower, bro?
Okay, I didn't make it up. Okay, cool. Good to know. Mandela effect, real time, guys. Oh.
yeah. Ah, that's a good one to research. If people were looking at this first episode, Mandela effect is a good thing to start with, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah, we got 3 minutes, guys.
I think it went well for the first episode. Beyond the Pendulum.
Yeah, except for my goof up of not turning on the thing for the first minute.
I think on like YouTube or whatever you can cut
I
it.
don't know. I don't think you guys were muted for like a whole minute. Like, I don't think Mark talked very long because as soon as I was like, oh shit, Mark's muted, like I opened Discord and logged in, and by the time I had Discord open, we could hear him. So, we'll just blame it on being a noob or something. It's okay, Tyler.
Yeah, but they're not noobs.
I know.
It's okay. Shh.
Hey, what are we doing with podcast, Tyler? Like next week or something? Like same time or something?
Yeah, next week, same time. We'll try to do it at 1 p.m. I can't do ABB, unfortunately, this week. I have to go do some legal errands, get some stuff from the DMV today. Not fun.
Do APP though tonight, Mark, if you can, like especially with like Eric passing and stuff, like. But if we can't, we can't. But
Yeah, we'll try to get this show listed on other things. I'm gonna be starting Telegram channel, and we'll be going on Rumble, and then I want to get on other podcast networks. See if I can get on Spotify, and we'll see how far this experiment grows. The goal is to get call in feature where I want to have like what Art Bell does, like a ghost to ghost where like people can call in and tell them their ghost stories and do whatever. Get
Yeah.
me, and then like troll fest episodes where we have like flat earthers call in and say whatever the
Yeah.
hell they're gonna say. Like
You remember that one Art Bell thing? That was a really scary one, where that guy from like who like ran away from Area 51 called in.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Wait,
Stuff
he's
like
still
that.
alive?
They will triangulate on me now. They will triangulate on me now.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, and I'll holler at well, I'll get that information for Burmis, and then I know a guy in Ohio that has been doing like a call-in show for a long time. Matt over at Matrix Minds. I don't know what he's using for like a VoIP, but like I have an actual phone number for him, so I can just pick up and call. But Steve might have like an actual phone number for Burmis. I think he does. But I know that Burmis is using like Podbean for his call-in stuff. So I mean, I don't know how well he likes it. He's only been doing it for like a month or two, I think, but. Um, there's a few different ones out there, and like I said earlier in the chat, like I'm willing to like pitch in on that. I mean, I don't think it's like super expensive, but all that shit adds up after a little while. So I'm definitely fees or whatever if that's how we want to do it for sure.
Okay, and with that, I'll end the show, and we'll be back next week, same time, 1 p.m. Pacific.
Stay dangerous, you guys.